Welcome back. All right, so 5 games tonight in the National Hockey League. These 2 games had my undivided attention. I would have reviewed them earlier maybe, but because of the TNT puck drop being so much later than the other 7 o'clock games, there was too much overlap, didn't have the time. All right, not that I think a video just reviewing these 2 games would have done great. It wouldn't have, but it would have saved me a little bit of time later on in the night. All right, so starting things off, Buffalo and Montreal. And why, yes, these are brand new magnets. Just made them. Oddly enough, they're brand new, and yet they're from 1974. So, yeah, old stickers that came out. So, Luukkonen versus Montembeault in this one. Slafkovsky fires one wide on a rush. Cousins has a wraparound that's held. The Sabres press at 2 minutes. Matheson fires one wide on a rush. The Habs press. That draws them a power play. Suzuki has a one-timer. That's held. A hit by Matheson draws a bit of a crowd, leads to 4-on-4 for 44 seconds. Then it's a Sabres power play. Peterka's denied on a turnover chance. We have a post for Dylan Cousins. Everything's turned off or killed off there. Skinner has a shot that deflects out. The Sabres press at 8 minutes. Roy hits the outside of the net as the Habs press. Shots are 6-3 for Buffalo at the half. Thompson has a net drive. That's saved. Newhook couldn't bury one in close. And then at 12:41, Montreal opens the scoring. It's Xhekaj from Roy and Savard. And it's posted in during a pretty good press by Montreal. Caulfield then looks to add another. Luukkonen saves. Luukkonen's numbers continue to be fantastic. Sabres press with 5.5 minutes left. Skinner has a wraparound. That's blocked. Clifton fires one wide as the Sabres are pushing to tie it. 2:50 left. The Habs get a power play. And Buffalo kills that off. So it's 1-0 Montreal after 1. Second period, early press by the Sabres. Slafkovsky to Caulfield gets blocked. The fans call one, a referee doesn't. The Sabres press at 4 minutes, and at 4 minutes and 20 seconds, Girgensons deflects one in. Jokiharju and Dahlin with the assists to tie the game at 1. Shots are 2-0 Sabres at 5 minutes. So not a really crazy first 5 minutes, but Buffalo gets goal out of it. Armia has a rush chance, that's held. And then at 6:35, off of a face-off win, Struble has a point shot that deflects in off of one of Buffalo's own. Roy and Newhook with the assists. So Roy with 2 assists in this game tonight. So the Habs look for another, but we get a power play for Buffalo. There's an early clear, and then there's another clear, and then on the next zone entry on a 3-on-1 rush, Skinner, who's pretty good against Montreal, gets the power play goal from Cousins and Thompson at 9:28. Pozo then has a net feed that's picked off. Peterka has a break chance. That's defended by Suzuki without taking a penalty. Sabres go back to the power play. Early clear. Skinner to Thompson. There's a near miss there. The Habs clear again. They do kill that off. Things get pushy on a hole by Luukkonen with 3:04 left. There's a power play for Montreal. There's an early clear. And again, and then after a turnover at 18:08, it's a shorthanded goal by Alex Tuck to make it 3-2. Sabres then finish the kill. Thompson has a rush chance that's held. But yeah, after 2 periods of play, the score's 3-2 in favor of Buffalo. Third period, Gallagher to Armia. There's a near miss. The shots are 2-0 Montreal, 3 minutes in. Habs press, but they can't get to the net. Anderson has a screenshot that's held. Habs press at 6 minutes. The shots are up to 5-0 Montreal at 9 minutes. More pressure by the Habs at 9.5 minutes. The Sabres block. They clear, but not for very long. It comes right back in. Gignac to Ullinen. Near miss there. Newhook fires one wide. All Habs at this point. Evans is robbed. Luukkonen holds on there. Thompson's then denied as the Sabres finally get some zone pressure. They do press again with 5 minutes left. Those Sabres do. Caulfield has a rush that's broken there that sets up a Habs pressure. And then the Sabres had a 3-on-2 that's broken up by Montreal at the other end. With 1:34 left, the Habs with a power play. There's an early block and clear. It becomes 6-on-4. With 25.7 seconds left, it becomes a 4-on-4. Slafkovsky had a rough night. He ended up with 3 penalties called against him. And Montreal ends up losing this one 3-2 at home. Buffalo 25-27-4 with the win. Montreal 22-26-8 with the loss. Shots on net 9-8 Montreal in the first, 11 apiece in the second, 11-4 Montreal in the third. Final shots 31-23 Montreal. Power plays Buffalo 1-for-3, Montreal 0-for-4. The hits 19-14 Buffalo. Luukkonen saves 29 out of 31, and Montembeault saved 20 out of 23 at the other end. So entertaining game. And Buffalo comes out with the win. All right, and the other one, Philadelphia against the Chicago Blackhawks. Ersson versus Soderblom in this one. The Flyers with the early jump. They were ahead in shots 5-1, 3.5 minutes in. Blackwell has a net drive. That's blocked. Radish is robbed on a 2-on-1 rush. Konechny misses one wide from in close. And then Sanheim It's a shot that's tipped in after a good forecheck. Lawton with the assist at 6:18. Flyers look to add another, but the Hawks rush the other way and they score. It's Blackwell from Joey Anderson at 7:35, so that ties the game at 1. Tyler Johnson then has a rush chance that goes crossbar and out. Bedard draws a power play on a rush. That's killed off by Philadelphia. Ersson holds a Bedard rush chance. Frost has a near miss on a rush. Hathaway throwing some big hits late in the period. Bedard fires one high in a net drive. Smart move by Philadelphia tonight. They didn't get a power play, so didn't have to worry about whether it was any good or not. So second period with the score tied at 1. Sanheim fires one wide on a rush. Paling has a wraparound. That's held. Things get pushed in hold by Soderblom. The Flyers press at 2.5 minutes. The Hawks have a 3-on-2. That's broken up. And then Konechny on an end-to-end rush. He buries it at 3:15. So Konechny like, all right, everybody jump my back. We're going. Hawks press to respond, but the shots are 6-1 for Philadelphia 5.5 minutes in. The Hawks press again at 6 minutes. Too many Flyers on the ice, so the Hawks get a power play. Tyler Johnson's denied and close. That power play's killed off. Flyers press at the half. Couturier has a chance that's blocked. It's cleared out. Foligno then has a net drive chance. That's held by Ersson. And then Hathaway buries a rebound. Cates and Paling with the assists at 11:55. It was a good press by Philly to set that up. It's 3-1. Tippett fires one wide, and it's all in control for Philadelphia at this point. Bedard then has a rush. That's defended. The Hawks press, but they're kept to the outside. Kurashev then has a chance. That's held. Cates to Paling, near miss there. The Hawks press with 5 minutes left. Atkinson has a rush chance that's held. Frost is then denied after a turnover by Soderblom. So he's turned it over and then bailed himself out. So it's 3-1 for Philly after 2. We go to the third. Radish can't bury one in close. He's snake bit when it comes to goals right now. Hawks press at 1.5 minutes. We then had a fight between Sealer and Reese Johnson. Things get punchy on a hold by Soderblom. Shots are 3-2 for the Flyers at 5 minutes. There's a shoulder save on a Tyler Johnson rush. Flyers really limiting space well in the first half. And I mean, Chicago, they're not the greatest team in the league, so you know there's that. You got to take it with a grain of salt a bit, I guess. But still, Flyers defending well. Long stretch without a whistle as well. I think it was like 5.5 minutes. Well, that favors the team with the 2-goal lead. Bedard to Kurashev near miss. The next Bedard to Kurashev gets blocked. Bedard really trying to set him up. I thought he might have wanted to take a shot in one of those. Bogoli pull happens with 2 minutes left. There was a post for Lawton on an empty net. Then at 59.3 seconds left, the Hawks call a timeout. Whatever they discussed does not work. They end up losing this one 3-1. The Flyers go to 30, 20, and 7 with the win. Chicago 15, 39, and 3 with the loss. The shots on net, 16-7 Philly in the first, 14-8 Philly in the second, and then in the third, 8-3 Chicago. Power plays, or final shots are 33-23 Philadelphia. Now the power plays, Philadelphia didn't have any. Chicago 0-2. I like the idea of a referee coming over and going, okay, we're giving a penalty to the other team, and Tortorella going, nah. Have you seen this power play? Nah. What are you looking at, Konechny? Your dog crap. Just this whole power play sucks. So the hit 16-14 Philly. Now you want to see it. So Ersson saves 22 out of 23 and Soderblom saved 30 out of 33. So pretty good night for Ersson. And that being said, I do need to change boards. And then it became 80s night. All right, so yeah, a lot of goals in these other 3 games. Makes me nervous. Tomorrow night there's 11 games. There's going to be a stretch where there's 8 games on at the same time. If it's like this, I might lose my hair tomorrow. So, Tarasov versus Gibson. I know I don't have long to go. Teams trade rushes, and at 3:32, Werenski opens the scoring. Goudreau and Roslovic with the assists. But the shots are 3-2 for the Ducks at 5.5 minutes. The interesting thing with the score in this one is I think Anaheim deserved the win for the most part. Just when they had a chance to shoot themselves in the foot, they couldn't stop themselves. McTavish has a rush chance. That's blocked. There's a net feed to Lundestrom. Near miss there. Terry's denied in close. It's all Ducks. And then on a 2-on-1 rush, Goudreau scores from Bean at 9:32. And I put right there, no takebacks. So this one counts. The last 2 goals he's had have been taken off the board. So that's his 8th of the season. Jackets press for another. Jenner had a certain goal. That was blocked. Columbus draws a power play. That's killed off. Strome's denied in close. Puck's cleared out. And then Werenski buries one from the side of the net at 18:30. Jenner and Roslovic with the assists. It's 3-0 Columbus after 1. Second period. Shots are 4-0 for Columbus at 2 minutes. And then at 2:49, after Gibson hands the puck off to the wrong team, Texier says thanks, gives it to Corrali and buries it. Gibson did get back in the net, but he wasn't set. So that's 4-0. Olivier had a fight with Johnston. It was a good tilt because they're both fighters. Shots are 7-2 Columbus at 6 minutes. Lundestrom has a rush chance that's blocked. And then at 9:07, Terry. He scores to get Anaheim on the board from Vakanainen and Vetrano. Jenner's then denied and close. Columbus presses with 9.5 minutes left. We get a power play for the Ducks. That's killed off. Gudas flattens Voronkov. And then McTavish. He scores from Terry and Minchikov at 16:05, and if it looked like an easy goal, it's because Tarasov had just taken a stick inside his mask from his own defenseman, Adam Boqvist. I'm sure Boqvist felt terrible. Tarasov left for repairs, so Elvis goes in. What could go wrong with Elvis in the net? Well, with 2:24 left, the Ducks get a power play. That becomes a minute of 4-on-4. During the 4-on-4, it seemed to work for Anaheim. McTavish scores from Terry and Minchikov at 18:49, and at 19:36, Killorn, a goal that was originally credited as shorthanded. It now shows it as a 4-on-4 goal. Carlson and Minchikov with the assists on that. So Merzlikins comes in and gives up 2 goals on 2 shots. So it's a 4-4 tie. We're going to the third, where if you're a Columbus fan, you were probably pretty happy to see Tarasov back in the net. Columbus presses at 3 minutes. Danforth has a rush. That's blocked. Things get punchy at the benches, so 2 of each team go to the box. And at 6:50, Chinikov scores to put Columbus back in the lead. Goudreau and Jenner with the assists. And then at 7:39, from a sharp angle, Corelli makes it 6-4 from Sillinger and Texier. So this was a wild, crazy game. Really was. 4:41 left. Columbus with a delay game call. Eventually it becomes a 6-on-4. That's killed off. 2:22 left. The Ducks go back to the power play. They call a timeout. Whatever they discussed did not work. At 19:27, Jenner hits the empty net. It's a shorthanded goal as well. Severson with the assist, I should say. And so, yeah, 7-4 is your final score for Columbus. They go to 18, 27, and 10. For Anaheim, 20, 34, and 2. It's another rough night for Anaheim. Shots on net, 10-7 Anaheim in the first, 13-7 Columbus in the second, 14-7 for Anaheim in the third. I thought they outplayed them. 31-27 were the final shots for Anaheim. Power plays, Columbus 0 for 2, Anaheim 0 for 4. The hits, 28-22 for Anaheim. Tarasov, 27 saves on 29 shots. Elvis allowed 2 goals on 2 shots. And Gibson saved 20 out of 26. I wouldn't use this game as an example to any teams looking for a goalie at the deadline. I wouldn't use any of the footage from this game of Gibson. Probably would just say, oh, yeah, that was a different Gibson. That was John B. Gibson. It's a different Gibson altogether. So when he loses, it's John B. Gibson, and then when he wins, oh, that's the real John Gibson. That's the guy you want in a trade. All right, next up, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Arizona Coyotes. Another bonkers, crazy game. Samsonov versus Vejmelka, good early back and forth. And at 1:56, the Leaf fans in attendance, which was most of the attendance, they were happy. McMahon tips one in front, stays red hot. Brody and Liljegren with the assists. Leafs press for another. There's a power play for Toronto. The Leafs score, but they're offside, which turned out to be pretty good for Toronto, because then during that power play, there's a good cycle, and Matthews gets goal number 50. Liljegren and Marner with the assists at 5:01. Leafs press for another. There's a press by Toronto at the half. It's really all Toronto. Coyotes press are kept to the outside. Mosier has a screenshot that's held. The Leafs draw a power play, and 2 seconds later it becomes a 5-on-3. And even worse, it's a 4-minute penalty that makes it a 5-on-3. So during the 5-on-3, Nylander scores because, of course, he did. It was a minute and 58 seconds of 5-on-3. Marner and Tavares with the assists at 15:27. There's a shorthanded rush by Cooley. That's defended. The Coyotes kill off the 5-on-4, that 4-minute penalty, and then immediately take another penalty. So there's 12 seconds left in that power play for Toronto to start the second period. They're already up 3-0. The Coyotes do kill that other 12 seconds. Matthews is denied after that's done. Tavares has a net drive. He hits the side of the net. We got a power play for Arizona. Gunther has a one-timer that's held, and that's killed off. But shortly after it's done, Michelli walks in and wires it. Bukestad with the assist at 4:28. Arizona's on the board. And then at 5:38, Hayden tips one in. Kerfoot with the assist, and this is where Sheldon Keefe calls a timeout for Toronto to kind of tell him off, because this is not fair. Coyotes then look to tie it. Things are punchy on a Vejmelka hold. That leads to some 4-on-4. The Coyotes press with 8.5 minutes left. Mosier's denied and close. We get another 2 minutes of 4-on-4. These teams not happy. Matthews, it goes off of his shoulder and into the net. I thought it was funny, his reaction. It was almost like he didn't want to take credit for the goal. Like, oh, no, it's Marner's goal. Look, your goal, because it went off his shoulder. It's not like it's this beautiful goal. But it does count because he didn't direct it off of it. He didn't, like, do that with his shoulder. Went in off his shoulder. It's goal number 51. Brody with the other assist at 16:07. That is also the 350th goal in the career of Austin Matthews. So he's got there pretty fast. 1:40 left. The Coyotes get a power play. They do score on it to make it a 4-3 game. It's Gunther during a delayed call as well. Keller and Dursey with the assists at 19:53. So they have a 7-second power play to end the second, meaning a minute and 53-second power play to start the third, and they're only behind by 1. But out of the box, after that power play's killed, Nylander scores from Brody at 2 minutes. So you've got to watch the guy coming out of the box. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Leafs press at 6 minutes. Carcone hits the side of the net on a rush at 8:24. Tavares makes it 6-3 from Robertson and McMahon. Arizona didn't really have a lot of chances after that. I thought Toronto locked it down pretty well. They win this one 6-3. They go to 31-16-8 with the win. That's a 5-game winning streak. They didn't lose a single game without Riley. For the Coyotes, 23-29-4. That's an 11-game losing streak for the Coyotes now. Shots on net, 16-6 in favor of Toronto in the first, 14-12 Arizona in the second, 8-6 Toronto in the third. Final shots, 36-26 for Toronto. Power plays, the Leafs 2 for 5, Arizona 1 for 3. The hits, 35-21 for Arizona. Samsonov, 23 saves on 26 shots. Vejmelka saved 30 out of 36. He had not lost against Toronto. He had a 3-0 record. That is broken tonight. So there you go. All right, in the last game of the night, the one that made me angry, it just did. I don't know what it is. It's like Boston went, he's been mad at the Canucks. He was mad at the Canucks for that Minnesota game. Think we can make him mad? They did. So it's Swayman versus Skinner. Louis interviews his son Jake pregame. It's a nice moment. It's a nice moment to see DeBrusk interviewing DeBrusk. Father interviewing son. Fogle has a rush chance, that's blocked. Grzelcyk gets shaken up along the boards. That's bad news. If Grzelcyk is hurt, that's really bad news for Boston. A team that's already down Lindholm, who's out week to week. So the Bruins get a power play as a result of it. Zacha's denied and close, but then Geekie. It's top corner. It's a screenshot. He opens the scoring. Lowry and Coyle with the assist at 2:34. I like Mason Lowry. I wish he was in the lineup when everybody's healthy. I think he's a top 6 defenseman already. But anyways, DeBrusk has a rush chance. That's saved. If you're a Bruins fan, let me know if you agree with me or if you don't. Things get pushed in a hole by Swayman. The Bruins press at 7.5 minutes. Brazeau has an in-close chance that's blocked. Shots are 7-5 for the Oilers with 9 minutes left. And at 11:40, on a turnover, Fogle scores from McDavid. So that ties the game at 1 with 2:33 left. The Oilers get a power play. That's killed off. Geekie has a buzzer beater that wouldn't have counted, but it's still saved by Skinner anyways. So I stopped taking notes after that first goal by Oilers because I thought, you know what? I looked at these games over here and I'm like, I think we're going to get a lot of goals. I don't want to have to use the fourth column. So we go to the second period with the score tied at 1. 25 seconds in, Marchand wires one on a rush from Heinen. This was a sloppy game. It's highly entertaining to people, but for me, I like a balance. And this one, the balance was all wonky. Teams exchange turnovers at 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Frederick scores to make it 3-1. Boquist and McAvoy with the assist. The Oilers do press for a response. Wotherspoon has a fight with Perry. Perry's given an extra 2. He didn't like getting the extra 2. I thought the fact that he dropped the gloves and started punching before Wotherspoon even dropped the gloves, he could have had the instigator. He could have had 17 minutes and penalties. So, but that, again, that's just me looking at it. Zacha has a shot that's caught and held. That power play's killed off. Kane fires one wide on a rush. We get a power play for the Oilers. That's killed off as well. And then Jake DeBrusk scores in front of his dad. Pasternak and Wotherspoon with the assists at 13:57. He buries a loose puck around the side of the net. Makes it 4-1. Well, it's a 4-1 lead for Boston. Game's done, right? No. The way Boston's been playing lately, it can get kind of shaky. So at 15:27, Fogle, off of a good forecheck, Hyman with the assist, gets the Oilers within 2. Fogle, really honestly, playing really, really well. And he deked around Swayman. It was a nice goal. I'm always glad to see Fogle scoring, even though it is against Boston here. Bouchard has a blast that saved as the Oilers press. It's 4-2 Boston after 2. That's where me having a channel's changed things. I wouldn't have had any clue about Fogle. I wouldn't have had any emotional investment in Fogle's play before I had a channel. Third period, things get punchy and a hole by Skinner. And the Bruins started off well. They were leading in shots 3-0, 3 minutes in. They're not giving the Oilers chances, but at 6:14, Janmark scores from Ceci, and you could just feel that switch. That switch comes on, and Perry scores at 7:24 from Nurse and Ceci. We have a tie game. 9.5 minutes in, the shots are 12-6 for the Oilers. All Oilers, they're pressing for the lead, but Pastrnak scores from low right at 12:40. Might have been the first time I've really laughed watching a game in a while. He kept passing it, so he gave it to Zacha, and I'm like, Zaka's not gonna, no, stop it. And I was like, Pasta, you can hear me through the TV. Listen, you have to do this. So it was like, I think his name should be Obi-Wan, because he is their only hope when they need a goal. He shot it, and it went in, and I was like, see? It's a goal. So they had the lead back, but they pulled the rug out again, because less than a minute later at 13:23, Hyman buries a rebound to tie it. Ekholm and McDavid with the assists. So that's 3 goals in the third for the Oilers. They've been pretty good in the third period over the last few months. The Oilers then press for the lead again. Heavy press by the Oilers with 2.5 minutes left, and with 20.6 seconds left, the Oilers get a power play. So, full transparency, I took an Oilers goal magnet and I put it on the board. I expected a goal. I did. I thought the Oilers are due for one on the power play. So, we go into the overtime, and the Bruins finish the kill. Then Van Riemsdyk is denied out of the box. Always watch the guy coming out of the box. Pastrnak has a net drive that's defended, and then at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, McAvoy with a nice goal. He buries it in close, bails out the team here. DeBrusk and Zacha with the assists. Your final score is 6-5 for Boston. They go to 34, 12, and 11 with the win. With the overtime loss, the Oilers 33, 18, and 2. So today in that video I had 11 overtime losses for the Oilers. If they lose their next 10 games in extra time, I look like Nostradamus. Shots on net in this one, 14-12 Boston in the first, 10-9 Edmonton in the second, 19-10 Edmonton in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 3-2 for Edmonton. So Swayman makes saves when he needs to. Final shots are 44-35 for the Oilers. Power plays, Boston 1 for 2. The Oilers 0 for 3. The hits 30-23 for Boston. Swayman saves 39 out of 44, and Skinner saved 29 out of 35. So wildly entertaining for some, and I already heard like Sportsnet, they're like, oh, what a great game, and I was like, just, I know that when it's a run and gun style of game, that's not the Bruins style of hockey, and so once the Oilers were getting all that pressure, it was this crazy back and forth game, I was like, this is not Boston hockey. I thought they were fortunate to come out with 2 points, but they do, and now tomorrow night they're playing in Calgary. We'll see how that goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you have not done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.